Welcome to Miniatures Rundown. I'm Kevin, and today we rockin' stone. So, I love dwarves, and it's no secret to anyone that knows me or is even like vaguely familiar with me that when the Leagues of Votann were revealed, I was absolutely beside myself with happiness seeing my favorite fantasy race come to the 41st millennium. Now, of course, I'm aware of the history that with squats and that their history goes back as pretty much as far as the game itself does, with a noted long absence between second edition and present. But that being said, I'm really happy to have my dwarves. And so one of my first videos about 11th edition and the different factions is going to be about my dwarves. I'm really excited for the changes coming to Leagues of Votann. And at the time of this recording, which is they have just updated the app with all of the information and all the points changes and everything that comes for Leagues of Votann. Now, I'm not going to go through every data sheet and read everything to you. That's something that you can certainly do on your own. But I'm going to go over the highlights and the things that I'm excited about for Leagues of Votann going into 11th edition. But I'll start with the negatives. So a couple of small things that are negative in terms of I like to run 2 Hecaton land fortresses. Now, Hecaton land fortresses have a tax. You take more than one, the second one's going to cost more, and the third one's going to cost even more. I never took 3, but 2 is pretty common in my lists. And so I may only be limiting it to 1. It kind of depends. It's not a huge tax, but it might be enough to just dissuade me enough, which is, I guess, that's the design intent. So yeah, I guess it's doing what it's supposed to do. That being said, there are a lot of really cool ways to combine your army. We really got a good selection of, in a incursion sized game, which is 2,000 points, of ways to combine our detachments, because most of our detachments, with the exception of 1, are 2 detachment points or 1 detachment point. The only 3 detachment point being the Hearth Band, which is understandable. It's incredibly strong. And so I understand why they're not allowing us to combine that with anything else. However, there's all kinds of really cool ways to incorporate the different parts of the Leagues of Votann and kind of the different sections of the army, for lack of a better term, that help define this army. So I'm thinking, of course, of one of the things I'm thinking of is the Farseekers. So the Farseekers is a detachment that is 1 detachment point, and what it does, it affects all the Hernkin stuff. So all of your Jaegers, the bikes, the Capricus, and it gives them abilities that kind of allow them to act like scouts during the course of the game. One of them being that they can increase the spotting range against this particular enemy unit that they spot, which is, I mean, they're scouts and they're advanced, infantry. So that really helps and makes a lot of sense for them. They get +1 to hit as long as they're shooting at stuff that's within 12, which I'm really happy to see that, because the fact that Hernkin didn't shoot quite as well as you would expect like a elite ranger type unit to work was kind of disappointing. But now that they can get +1 to hit while they're within 12, that's really nice. I really like that. They give you that force disposition, gives you reconnaissance, which is probably one of the more difficult force dispositions to work with. And this being one of the 2 Hernkin detachments, I'm not sure reconnaissance is going to be the one that I'm going to be picking the most often, but I think that this is a great companion to another detachment. Speaking of some of the companion detachments, one of my favorites is the Armored Trailblazers. So this specifically just focuses on Sagittars. And what's really cool about the Armored Trailblazers is that it buffs your Sagittars and kind of makes them behave in a way that they behaved previously. That you can enhance a Sagittar to get the mobile keyword, which allows it to move through dense terrain as though infantry, beast, or swarm, which is really cool. So now you can have the Sagittars sitting behind terrain and being able to strike from angles that were originally pretty difficult for them to access before. And the other thing you can do with Sagittars is give them a targeting network, which allows them to ignore cover, which now cover is -1 to your ballistic skill, which means that Sagittars will be typically hitting on 5s if they're shooting into cover. So that's a really big help for them. And not to mention that combined with the army rule often means that they won't be suffering from the ballistic skill, and they'll be getting +1 to hit if you are, depending on which side of the fortified takeover or hostile acquisition that you're in. So I think that the Armored Trailblazer is really cool. Brings a little bit more life to Sagittars, who at one point were really, really strong and then kind of petered off. And then now I think they're going to find a new role in this army. I'm really excited about that. But being able to combine those things with Need Guard, which is kind of like, has always been like the basic, like this is Leagues of Votann type detachment, which is 2 detachment points. And Need Guard kind of gives you everything that you need to buff all your stuff to make it feel like you're playing your army at its best. You get sustained hits, you get retreat and charge, you get all kinds of really, you get -1 to AP when being shot at. You get, there's all, it's a very toolbox detachment, and being able to combine that with one of the more specialized one detachment point detachments. I'm saying detachment a lot. I'm not going to say DP, but being able to combine Need Guard, for instance, with Farseekers to further increase your ability to engage with the enemy at range, or Armored Trailblazers, which lets you get your Sagittars up and put scoring units into position to do actions and whatnot. Need Guard, of course, has a Purge the Foe force disposition, which at this point in time and at this time of recording, Purge the Foe is deemed to be pretty strong. It's one of the simpler ways to score your primary, and I think that it's going to be pretty popular because it just requires you, in many cases, to kill the enemy and sit on non-home objectives, which is, that's kind of just 40k. Like, you're not doing a whole lot of special stuff aside from that. But that being said, there is a lot of cool combinations with that. Once again, the only one that you can't combine with anything else is the Hearthband. And that's just because, at least at the time of this recording, it's deemed a little bit too strong for it to combine with anything else. And I kind of get it. Getting +1 damage in melee against monsters or vehicles, getting an extra AP or getting to reroll wound rolls makes some strong units already much stronger. Arguably putting things like Hearthguard into where they should be power level wise rather than where they are normally without any of those buffs. I do think and Delve Assault Shift being able to also, like, I really am excited to try Delve Assault Shift combined with the Hearthguard Covenant, for instance, for being able to add some Hearthguard to my Delve Assault Shift to really combine that ability for having some hard, durable dwarves sitting on objectives and sending my berserkers out to go slay the enemy. I think that sounds really cool too. And the Delve Assault Shift has some really strong abilities that really make your berserkers feel very, very, they're angry dwarves. What do you want me to say? I mean, it's pretty great. There is the Persecution Prospect, which you can combine the Hearthguard Covenant. So you want to take more Hernkin and really focus on Hernkin, but take some hard units like Hearthguard or whatnot. Or it also gives you ability to make stuff like if you're going to take Uther the Destined, for instance, and put him in, because he fits in any army, and being able to give him some buffs. Uther the Destined is great. And taking him and just being able to take the Hearthguard Covenant just improves him specifically, and whatever he joins a lot more. So, as far as that goes, I think that the Leagues of Votann are looking really good. They're an army that always has had a good, like, all-around presence in the game. They have good shooting, they have good melee, and they can hyper-focus into one of those elements and really excel. Their durability is kind of middling, except for the exception of a few units, but they don't have a whole lot of access to strong invulnerable saves. For instance, like Hearthguard, for instance, don't have a native invulnerable save. They used to. But that being said, I think that things are really looking good for the Leagues of Votann going into 11th, and I'm looking forward to putting on the table and see what they can do. Let me know what you think about the Leagues of Votann and what you think about them in going into 11th in the comments below. Do you like them? Do you hate them? Let me know. If you like this content and want to see more, don't forget to like and subscribe, and also check out our Patreon down below. Every dollar really helps us, and it helps bring this content to you. We sincerely appreciate all of the help. Thank you so much. Anyway, that's Leagues of Votann going into 11th. Thank you, and happy gaming.